Grosvenor Square, now famous for its connection with the United States, lies in the midst of what is today one of London's wealthiest and most fashionable districts, Mayfair. From one corner, a street runs eastward in a long straight line, cutting across Bond Street and finally emerging into Hanover Square. This is Brook Street, a pleasant street to wander down. And its buildings, large houses, exclusive clubs, a few select shops, and a world-famous hotel, all exude an air of solid well-being. But halfway down this fashionable thoroughfare, and close to the noisy, congested Bond Street crossing, there stands a house with an altogether different claim to fame. It's easy to miss the plaque set high on the wall here. Yet this commemorates what is surely one of Brook Street's greatest distinctions. Yes, George Frederick Handel lived here, and the music he composed is today known all over the world. It was here indeed that Handel composed his most famous oratorio, Messiah. At that time, of course, Brook Street presented a very different appearance, and the cries of street sellers echoed through the windows of the red brick house where Handel lived. Inside that house, during the summer of 1741, the composer might have been seen, a middle-aged man, broken in health, who had been brought to the verge of ruin by the intrigues and jealousies of London society.
I feel better already.
I'm glad to hear you talk like that, sir. And the doctor will be thinking he's done a grand job.
The doctor who cured me was Dr. Phineas.
Now, come and sit down, sir. There.
When did I last pay you?
Oh, it's just then it concern yourself with that.
Was it this month?
Well, no, not exactly.
Was it last month?
Well, sir, no, it wasn't just last month, but I'm sure I had something the month before.
Oh, it is a scandal you should be treated so.
Oh, scandal here, scandal there. It's for me to complain. And now, when I hear you spoiling this beautiful day, your first morning up with unpleasant considerations.
But you must live.
I'm a long way for a day, I promise you.
Phineas, for too long have I let others bear my burdens.
Burdens that folks like bearing are no burden.
There's no excuse. I must face the truth. I am a failure.
Well, now, I'll give you another word on that score. At the worst onset of your illness, you kept talking. A lot of what you said was beyond me, but there was one thing I did understand.
What was that?
You meant to do greater work than you'd ever done.
Oh, delirium, Phineas.
Maybe, but it was the only thing you said that sounded like sense.
Ach, lieber Tag. Show me that work and give me strength to do it.
Good sakes, sir. Are you all right?
Yes. What would you say, Phineas, if I told you that soon I was to begin my greatest work?
I'd say grand, but it's time you had your physic.
There is only one voice in all England like that. That is Mr. Charles Jennings.
Sweetheart, is the road fit for me to walk on?
Yes, sir.
Very well, I will get out.
Bring me my cap.
But what about your physic?
Never mind, sir. Open the door.
The gentleman and his captain, sir.
Chaplain, fellow.
Good day, Mr. Jennings. Excuse me being seated, but I am still rather weak.
Ah, Mr. Handel, I'd hoped to see you recover.
I am able to leave my bed, sir.
I'm glad to hear it. I brought Pooley with me. You may have noticed him.
I hope I see Mr. Pooley well.
Yes, Mr. Handel.
Pooley, hand me the manuscript of my new oratorio. Now, Mr. Handel, I venture to say this is the greatest oratorio that has ever been written.
Music generally plays some part in oratorio.
Precisely why I'm here, sir. You will set my oratorio to suitable music.
Someday, perhaps, I may do so.
Someday? But I want it done at once. I'm all impatience.
No doubt, patience has never been one of your virtues. But I'm afraid you must wait.
I will not wait.
You forget, sir, I am barely recovered from my illness. I cannot undertake this work.
But it's unheard of.
Take it to someone else.
Mr. Handel, we have worked together before. And although I have not always agreed with you, there is no other composer to whom I would entrust this.
Oh, what is it called?
Messiah.
Messiah? A verse dealing with the promise and coming of our Lord?
Yes, it is...
Messiah. Let me see.
I've made a selection of biblical passages, chiefly from where, Pooley?
Isaiah.
Isaiah and where, Pooley?
Malachi and Zechariah. Then from St. Matthew and St. Luke. The second part...
Yes. The passages are all clearly marked, are they not?
Yes, sir.
Go away.
I beg your pardon?
Go away. Go right away from here. You chatter and chatter like a monkey. Come back in a month.
Very well, Mr. Handel. After such extraordinary treatment, I will go. Give me my oratorio.
This is not yours, nor mine. 'Tis every man's. You are but the fortunate messenger to place it into my hands. Comfort ye. Comfort ye, my people.
Eh?
The opening words of your oratorio, sir.
Oh, yes, of course, sir. Nevertheless, Mr. Handel...
Go away.
I think, Mr. Jennings, sir, we really had better leave.
Leave?
You have succeeded in what you came to do. Mr. Handel will compose the music, but now our presence is a distraction.
Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem. Lights, more lights. More lights, I say. I must have light if I am to work.
Light enough, sir, if you'd only take heed of time. Do you realize that you haven't been to bed for 3 nights?
Leave me, Philip. And shall be revealed.
Your pardon, sir?
And the glory of the Lord shall be revealed.
Mr. Phineas. What a lot of milk you're taking these days, to be sure. Have you babies in the house?
No. No babies. Or maybe one great fractious baby that went asleep night or day and can hardly be persuaded to eat his meat.
What you need for it, Mr. Phineas, is a woman nurse.
I'm afraid, my dear, that this baby would throw a woman nurse out of the window.
Lord, Mr. Phineas, now how could it?
Oh, my dear, I'm only speaking figuratively about my master. Do you know, he's working night and day and won't eat the food that I cook for him. Him that usually likes his meat. So I'm trying to keep him alive on milk. Well, good day to you, lassie.
Good day to you, Mr. Phineas. And I hope Mr. Handel will soon come to himself again.
Thank you, well. Master, what ails you?
I thought I saw the firmament open, and the glory of all heaven before me, and the great God himself in the midst.
This great work is costing you too dearly. You're ill, master.
Ill? Never have I known such happiness.
But you cannot go on day and night like this. Your strength is bound to give out.
He who gave me this work to do will give me strength to do it. Now leave me.
So,
Leave me, I say.
And so, in the autumn of 1741, after 24 days and nights of almost incessant work on nearly 300 pages of manuscript, the score of the oratorio Messiah was completed. This, then, was how the well-loved notes of this great work came into being in a house in Brook Street. Notes which have since echoed far and wide throughout the world.
What is this? Who are you?
My dear, you surely know me.
Oh, for a moment I didn't. How do you come to be here?
Phineas brought me.
Phineas brought you. Why did he do that?
He said you needed me.
Phineas is shrewd.
Do you need me?
If you had not come, I would have sent for you to take up your greatest work.
What is it?
I heard the voice imperative, and it said, write. And I asked, what shall I write? And straightway the answer was put into my hands. And here is the fruit of my laboring. It is completed.
What is it called?
It is called Messiah. It tells of man's redemption.
Oh, an oratorio.
Yeah. It is the story of our Savior. Yeah.
But I, an actress, to sing a sacred work? What would people think?
That an actress believed in God. Is that so strange?
see Mr. Handel.
Divine. Oh, how sorrowful.
How sorrowful, yes. But leading to what divine triumph? The despising, the grief, the sorrows, the stripes. He bore them for us. And here, child, is a great mystery. All we can do is to try and reach out for the great truth it carries. From my own travail, I have found that truth. I know that my Redeemer liveth.